Welcome back. You're watching On the Spot. My name is Patrick Kamara, and my guest tonight is Retired Major Okwiri Rwabwoni. Major, you have a very fascinating story to tell. You have served 3 different nations in the region. Okay, that's what we know. You could have done more than that. You're in the army as a kadogo of the NRA. Before you know it, you crossed the border and you're fighting alongside the RPF in Rwanda. And before you could know it, you've crossed the border, you're fighting in the Congo. What, these circumstances? Pan-Africanist agenda? Or you're a soldier of fortune?
A soldier of fortune means making money.
Yes.
No, I've never been a soldier of fortune. I come from a background of left of center politics. Since I was a young man, I admired people who fight for justice. I studied the stories of Patrice Lumumba, Che Guevara in Latin America. And I am a staunch believer in Pan-Africanism as a recipe for the continent's problems. So it's indeed was a Pan-Africanist agenda that I tried to follow. And up to now, I'm deeply involved in research in the conflicts in Mali, Nigeria, Egypt, Libya, the Congo, South Sudan, and trying to see how Africans can come together within the different regional intergovernmental frameworks to find peace to these turbulent regions of our continent. So Rwanda was an experience because of our experience in Uganda, how we were able to bring peace here. We thought that the Rwandese refugee question could be resolved by helping the Rwandese to borrow a leaf from our experiences in Uganda. Fortunately, we were successful, and the RPF has managed to transform, despite other challenges they may have, the political and economic landscape south of our border. And Congo, unfortunately, the road was more bloody than we expected. South Sudan, the peace they tried to put together was very superficial, and they were unable to resolve the underlying problems. So they failed to build political consensus, and it looks like the arrangement is getting unstuck. So they have to get back to the drawing board. So indeed, it was a Pan-Africanist agenda.
You get your military, I suppose, rank of major from the Rwandan army. So you were retired Rwandan also. How could that have been? So do you still have
ranks and
yes, but you retired in the Rwandan army, didn't you? Not in the UPDF.
In fact, my last stint in uniform was in the DRC. So I left uniform in 1997. That's when I decided to come back here. You remember, I joined parliament in 1998. So my military service was between 1985 and 1997. I had just 12 years.
1985?
In 1985, when I joined in the Rwenzori Mountains, we took power here in 1986. And then we started the struggle in Rwanda in October 1990 to...
So you actually started with the RPF?
Absolutely, yes. And we finished in 1994. I stayed along to help restructure the army and professionalize it for a couple of years, and left. And by 1996, I was engaged in talks with the RPF government to release me so that they could come back. And that's when
you crossed the border to the Congo?
The problems in Kivu came up, and So by May, June 97, we were calling it quits, and I was planning to come back here.
Currently, we are in the neighboring South Sudan. The army, the UPDF is there. Shall we not, as a country, burn our fingers in this intricate conflict? Because today I was reading, the president was being quoted as saying the conflict is taking some sectarian tendencies, the Nuer versus the Dinka. But we are there as a country. Are we not going to burn our fingers getting into this toxic tribal conflict of the Sudan?
It's indeed very intricate. But we as Ugandans are really caught between a rock and a hard place. Because I would not really blame our friend, our brothers in the UPDF crossing the border and going, because there were genuine national security interests in the Sudan. We have had problems with Joseph Kony and the regime in Khartoum giving assistance and succor to the LRA. So having forces which are friendly to these murderous forces would be dangerous for the country. And also there were big projects that were being planned between the government of Uganda, the government of Southern Sudan, the government of Kenya, the government of Ethiopia, Lapset, and all these were getting unstuck. And there was a very close relationship between the government of Uganda and the government of Southern Sudan. So Uganda's engagement there indeed was timely. But now the internal issues of Southern Sudan will need a resolution within a regional framework, because now Uganda cannot single-handedly be the glue that will bring these two contending forces together. But I believe that international pressure has already been brought to bear on the forces that are engaged in this conflict, and I think they'll be brought to their senses that Sudan does not live in isolation, and people will have to pay if the atrocities that are being committed continue. So they will come to
yes,
to the round table within the regional framework, IGAD, the African Union. There are various efforts that are coming now, forcing them to the table to bring some semblance of peace.
By March had shot to 25 billion. Would this not bleed the economy of Uganda?
Well, peace, you can never put a price to peace. How much money did we lose when Kony was ravaging in northern Uganda? 50% of our country was not producing for more than 20 years. We were bled white. In fact, we were lucky that we had a very progressive army. The NRA-UPDF was a very progressive army. If it had been another country, we would have had a coup d'etat in Kampala, because the army is tired of fighting in northern Uganda. So we sacrificed a lot in bringing peace to northern Uganda, not only in terms of military operations, but also in terms of losing citizens. The people of northern Uganda suffered a lot. The economy was left in shambles. So it's very difficult to put a price to peace and stability.
We have Ugandans who have been trying to ring you here and then maybe make their comments or ask you questions. I'm going to take the very first caller online. Hello?
Hello, Mr. Patrick Kamara.
Hello?
Hello?
Yes, sir.
Hello?
Yes, you are on air, sir. What's your name and where are you calling from?
This is Robert from Fort Portal.
Robert from Fort Portal.
Now, the man that they used to know as the one that we have hosted.
Yes?
But nowadays he changed his mind. Okwir that we used to know in the past is not Okwir of today. I remember the last time when he was contesting as an MC, the thing that he was telling us in Russia, as if we used to have much treasure in him. We thought that he could fight hard and bring good governance. But today, as if he is responding to questions as if he reformed. We don't know nowadays. He should tell us.
Okay.
Still the man that we used to know that, now it's a born again Christian.
Thank you very much, Robert in Fort Portal. Let me take another call online. Hello?
Hello?
Yes, sir. What's your name and where are you calling from?
Yeah, I'm Henry Baguma. I'm calling from Kampala. I've heard Major Okwiri. I thank you very much for coming on air.
Okay.
The two things you have said, thank you to NRM government. Number one, he talks of good sleep. We can sleep. Now he says thank you very much. And the second point is the UPDF also he says it is worth being in South Sudan. Are those the only two things he thinks worth saying thank you very much to NRM for the other things?
Okay. Thank you very much, Henry Baguma. I didn't fathom exactly what you were trying to say, though, but maybe Major Okwiri Rwabwoni understood it, so he will respond. Yes, sir. What's your name and where are you calling from? Could you turn down the volume of your TV set so that it doesn't bring an echo into the studio? I'll pick another one, sir, because you didn't turn down the volume of your TV set.
Hello, Patrick.
Yes, sir. What's your name and where are you calling from?
My name is Judge calling from Kampala.
Yes, Judge.
I just wanted to ask Mr. Rwabwoni. There was some fighting between Rwandan army and the government of Uganda in DR Congo. And that was around 1978. I don't know whether he participated in the same and which side was he. Thank you.
Okay, that's a good one. Just one more call, I suppose. Hello? Hello?
Hello?
Yes, sir. What's your name and where are you calling from? Yes. You're on air, sir.
Yes. Hello?
You're on air.
I'm okay.
Okay, I'm sorry, sir. I can't take your call because there is an echo. I suppose you have not turned down the volume of your TV set when you begin to talk, and that will not help us to communicate with you. Let me take another caller. Hello? Hello?
Hello.
Yes, sir. What's your name and where are you calling from?
My name is John Bijemano. I'm calling from Kampala.
John Bijemano. Good to hear your voice, sir.
Thank you. I'd like to thank you for hosting Major Rwabwoni, but I'd like to ask him for a quick comment on what the basis was for the rapprochement between President Kagame and President Museveni, who now appear to be very close, but had many disagreements. That's one. But two, I'd also like to have his comment about the growing infighting within the National Resistance Movement organization, notably the disagreement between its Secretary General and its chairman. I'd like to have Major Rwabwoni take on those two issues because he seems to be a person with a lot of information about those issues.
Thank you very much, John Bijemano, and all the others who called tonight. Maybe Major Okwiri Rwabwoni could just begin in reverse order, beginning with John Bijemano's question.
Well, the first one on His Excellency the President and the Prime Minister, I don't know. I'm not a member of NRM. I don't belong to any of the organs. I'm just like any other citizen. I read the newspapers and I see what's happening, and I watch television. Prime Minister Mbabazi is saying, I don't want to stand. Young people are telling him to stand. Members of parliament are saying NRA members of parliament made a resolution in Kyankwanzi talking about having one candidate, and the last I heard was that this was in contravention of the party constitution, because they have structures which are responsible for the nomination of candidates. That's how I followed it. So if the NRM is to have internal democratic mechanisms, then the parliament would not be the right forum to elect candidates for the NRM as a party. But anyway, I'm not interested, because NRM is not my party, and I don't know how they do their thing.
Okay.
There is a question on the rapprochement between President Kagame and President Museveni. I think they reached a point where they thought that what happened in Kisangani, I was not in the armed forces by then, by the way. There was Congo 1. I was more interested in Congo 1, because Congo 1 was about the overthrow of Mobutu. And Mobutu had been kleptocratic, and he had been a sore on the flesh of the African continent. So everybody was happy to see him go. And I was happy to be part of that process. Congo 2, I had nothing to do with Congo 2. And Uganda got out of Congo 2 with its fingers burnt. But I am happy about the reconciliation between President Kagame and President Museveni, precisely because it solidified the project of the East African community, which I'm very much interested in. Is that the fast tracking of East African Federation could only have arrived at by having the 5 leaders working together. Somebody said, how many things should I say thank you to, apart from being allowed to come back from exile, and what else? And people sleeping, about the NRM. I don't know. This program has only 45 minutes, 1 hour.
I think you say that you are thankful because you can Kweba Kotulo, no one is what. I'm wondering, really, should you even be, are you not
next time you should call an NRM ideologue to come and talk for them, how many things they have done for the country. But I had thought that my main work today was supposed to be around what I've been doing as a leader in civil society. Do I sound born again? No, I'm not born again. I think I made it very clear at the beginning that what I said then seems to have been borne out by facts now, that we still have a need for institutionalization as a panacea for change and transformation of our country.
The first caller in Fort Portal seemed to have said that the fighting ethos of Major Okwiri Rwabwoni, he doesn't see it anymore. What happened to the fighting spirit?
Whom do I have to fight?
Your concluding remark on the show tonight, Major Okwiri Rwabwoni.
I'd like to thank NTV for hosting me today and for this program, and I'd like to thank those who called in, and I'd like to call upon my fellow colleagues in civil society, political parties, NRA, FDC, UPC, DP, and all the others.
There are 38.
There are 38 who are involved in
political parties.
To thank them for the work they are doing, and the struggle continues. And Ugandans should not give up hope. Please keep hope alive, and good night.
Thank you very much, Major Okwiri Rwabwoni, the man with the gift of the gab. And that brings us to the end of tonight's edition of On the Spot. Join us again next week, same time, same station. Good night, and God bless Uganda.